Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to do some standard edits on your photo, just in your photo editing app that came on your phone. I'm using an iPhone, so it may look a little different if you're using a different type of phone, but there should be these standard same edits. I'm just using one of the images from our Precious Object photo shoot, but you can use this for any of the projects that you need to do some edits on. All right, up at the top right, I'm going to hit the edit button, and it's going to give me some options. The wand, if I hit that right there, it says auto on top of it. It's going to do what it thinks looks best. Looks decent, but I'm going to play with that even farther. So I'm going to scroll over to the next one, exposure. So you can see that it set it just a little bit to the left of the 0 mark for exposure. Exposure, let me go really extreme, that would be underexposed, and way over here would be overexposed. What you're looking for really is what looks good to your eye, but it's also where you're not losing detail in the shadows. So I'm losing some detail where it gets really dark there, and you're not losing detail in the highlights either, right where the writing is by the lens. So I'm going to agree it's going to be just a little bit probably to the left of where the auto setting had put it. All right, on the next one, brilliance. I just usually scroll them side to side, see what looks best. Yep, I agree about where it was. Highlights is going to talk about your brights. So obviously, they're going to go brighter if you go that direction. This way, they'll go a little darker. We want our highlights to be white, but like I said before, you don't want to lose any detail in them. So I'm going to go a bit farther than it had set it to. Shadows will be the opposite. Shadows are going to be your darks. And in this case, I really want the background to go black. I'm not going to get it totally there, but if I go pretty far to the left, I'm not going to go all the way because I'm starting to lose some detail in the shadows, but darkening up that background. I'm also going to crop it off here in a minute, so it won't matter too much. Contrast. Contrast does blacks and whites together. So it's going to determine if you have lots of blacks and whites all at once, or if you have lots of midtones and grays. So it's a great tool. Contrast is one of the more common tools, but again, you have to watch now black and white at the same time and make sure you're not losing any detail in either of those. Again, I'm just scrolling until I kind of like how it looks. Nothing looks too bright or too dark. Brightness, the overall picture, the darks and the lights, if they're brighter. Probably about there. And now black point, I'm going to go... Remember, I want that background to be pretty black, but again, I don't want to lose detail, so I'm going to go a little darker. I'm not going to play with saturation or vibrance because I'm going to turn my image into a black and white in a second. You don't have to. I'm just going to show you how to. But I guess if you want to see saturation, you have to be careful with it. It can make things look really phony really fast. So don't go too far with your saturation if you do any of it. And vibrance, not as intense, but it kind of messes with the color a little bit. So just try a little bit of it if you do any. Warmth would be how many warm tones, the reds and the yellows and the oranges. And tint would be your blues and greens. Sharpness, how intense that sharpness looks. And we have definition and noise reduction. These are all just to make it look crisp. A lot of it's kind of fake crispness, but they can help in a picture in some points. Vignette turns your outside edges darker. I am going to do this on this one. I don't do it very often, but because that background, I'm purposely trying to make it dark, I am going to add a bit of vignette to it. All right, then I am going to go ahead and crop it. So at the bottom, I'm going to go to the square with the overlapping corners and pull it down, just get rid of some of the background. I'm going to leave just a teeny bit of space there in the background. And then I'm going to say no filters for most of the stuff in this class, but in the filters, there is the option to do black and white. So if you do any filters, I like the monochromatic, Silvertone and Noir also make it black and white, but you lose some information there. So I'm going to do monochromatic. Remember, don't use any of these other fun filters. Okay, keep it true to your picture. All right, so if you want it black and white, you would hit that. Then I'm going to say done. And now I have Here's the new version of that photograph. It already automatically saved it into my camera roll. If you do not want it to make the changes to your original photo, then before you do this, click down here and say copy photo. Okay, I didn't do that. I probably should have, but that's okay. All right.